My father always used to say, and I love this saying, and I try to live by it. He always said to me, son, and he said this to all of my family as well, he would say, what's for you won't pass you by. Recently, I was in conversation with a friend about different people's realities when they come to do a course like CELTA, TEFL, Trinity, CERT, any of these kinds of courses. And the person made a comment to me that I was taken aback a little bit when it was first said to me that some people spend their last savings on these courses, and maybe I should be a bit more careful in terms of handing out advice around doing these courses. And, in the beginning, I will be very upfront. I was taken back. I was a little bit, defensive, because I have a vision of myself that I'm here, I'm genuine, I'm giving information honestly and without agenda, trying to help people be successful in their studies and making decisions about their careers. So at first I was a little defensive. I was like, why would you even say this to me? It has nothing to do with what I'm doing, because I'm here just genuinely helping people. However, I will admit, upon a little bit of reflection over the last few weeks, I remembered a maxim. You can be guilty of something by your acts, but also by your omissions. So maybe encouraging people that I'm not necessarily considering that I'm encouraging, maybe that is something that could be improved upon. And I thought a good way to address that is, first of all, let you know in a transparent way. My assumption is that we have a meeting of minds here insofar as we're adults. A course like CELTA, it has adults in the name. Teaching English as a foreign language, generally it's set up for teaching adults. So I expect that when I tick that box on YouTube that asks me, am I making this content for kids or not? And I said, this is not for kids, that I am assuming that the people who are taking my advice are adults and capable of making these decisions. So I think that's the baseline that's fair enough to agree upon. But then I thought, I got my notebook out and I started thinking about the question, and I thought a good way to help inform how maybe you should interpret my advice and everything that the internet has to say to you about your potential future in the world of TEFL, CELTA, Trinity, or becoming a digital nomad or starting your own coaching business, I thought about, let's make some profiles. So in my notebook here, if you can kind of see that, I thought about, we're going to think about a woman called Anna from Brazil. We're going to think about Maddie from the USA. We're going to think about Carolina from France, and we're going to think about Fatima from Pakistan. And so with these fictional people, although based on real people who I have worked with over the years in this world of TEFL and CELTA, digital nomadry, I'm going to break down their story a little bit and how I would advise them if they came to me and say, is this the right course for me? What should I do next? I'll tell you how I would advise each of these people. So thinking first of all about Anna, I'm imagining her as a young woman, 24, 25 years old from Sao Paulo in Brazil. The reason I've come up with this personality is because a large part of the people who watch my channel are in this bracket. They're from Latin America or indeed Brazil and in this kind of age group. So I thought it would be a good idea to speak to you watching this channel. So maybe you can see yourself in this situation. Anna is from one of the bigger cities in Brazil, Sao Paulo, and she's just finished university and she's in a financially stable position. Now, this is not true for every single person in Brazil and many people watching this channel or Latin America. Many people are in what I would call a finely balanced financial situation. So in Anna's case, she has the backing of her parents who are financially able to support her in doing a course like CELTA, which costs about 2,000 to 3,000 US dollars. So investing that money for somebody like Anna, whose parents and her own previous savings, it's not going to hurt her in the long run. However, if you're like one of Anna's friends who is similarly educated, but from a different part, a different socioeconomic part of Brazil, where you really need to be very careful with each and every dollar, each and every Brazilian real, then the thinking becomes a little bit different. The calculus, as we said, becomes a little bit different, or maybe very different. However, in Anna's case, I would say you've just finished university, you don't have the responsibilities or the dependencies in your life, such as paying for a house or children, and you have this desire to maybe live abroad, teach English, to hone your skills as an English teacher so that when you come back to Brazil in a year, 2 years, 5 years, you'll have had that abroad experience, which coupled with a CELTA is going to set you apart as a very desirable employment proposition for a school, or even for setting up your own business as a teacher, a coach, trainer, etc. So you see already how thinking about these profiles can even start to break down even more. It's not just about a country. It's not just about ability. You really have to look at the whole picture of who you are. In Maddie's case, he's a man in his 50s, and he's actually kind of come to the end of what he would call his first career. He's ready to somewhat retire, but wants to continue working, and he's heard of this thing, teaching English, or ESL, English as a second language. And there are some local providers in immigration services or libraries or schools that provide English language lessons. And he thought that's something that he could do, something that he's interested in. He always liked the idea of teaching. He feels that he's in a moment of his life that he's doesn't have a lot of financial concerns, and everything in life is just in a nice place for him, but he still wants to maybe give something back to the community around him. And in that case, thinking about that stage in life, financial situation, location, dependencies and responsibilities, he may have had most of his mortgage paid off and his children might be finished university. Then in that case, I would say go for it, Maddie. You have a great situation here and probably a lot to give, given that you have a lot of experience in life and you're not really stressed out about things like financial situations, etc. You might be in an excellent place to become a really reliable teacher in your locality. Indeed, somebody like Maddie might also be thinking about living abroad, not just teaching in the locality. The only thing that I'd say to somebody like Maddie in that case, I just say, do you have experience of living abroad? How do you feel about very different food all the time? How do you feel about, okay, you can probably survive in English, but it'd be a good idea to learn another language? How would you feel about a very different climate, culture, clothes, music, all of those kinds of things? You know, I know myself as I go through life, I like to think that I'm, pretty flexible, but sometimes you get used to your creature comforts and it gets just that little bit harder as you go on through life. So really ask yourself that question. However, in general, a person in this kind of situation, such as Maddie, I'd say go for it. CELTA is probably a good idea for you. So next on my list here was Caroline from France, and I'm imagining Caroline as a woman in her late 40s. She has children, but still living at home, maybe in high school kind of age. She is in a financially stable situation. Her husband is gainfully employed, and she has been throughout her whole career as well, and they've created a stable situation at home. Again, Caroline is similar to Maddie. It's not quite a retirement situation she finds herself in. It's more She has had a really good career in one area, and she's just been thinking about this teaching thing the entire time. She thought, okay, I've done one section of my life here. Now I'm ready for a new challenge. And this teaching thing, it sounds like there's a great opportunity. I live in a country that's basically everybody is a client because we're not English speakers, but I have the level to become a teacher and then teach this language. So it could be a great change of pace for me. Again, in this case, somebody such as Caroline, thinking about, my criteria here, age, financial situation, location, dependencies, and responsibilities. The only thing I just ask Caroline in this situation, just, hey, a career as an English language teacher, it doesn't pay you totally minimum wage, but maybe in your context, it's not going to be the highest earning position, and maybe it might be a lower earning position than you were in your previous job. I would just ask her, just have a conversation with your family, make sure that that is something that won't impact your lives too much in a negative way. If that change is okay, given that you probably have a very kind of stable situation already, then I would say for sure, go for it, because it's still, a financially very viable career in a place like France. And it could be very fulfilling for you. And of course, as I said to many people, then there are the spin-off careers. You can go from teaching English generally to teaching for exams and English for specific purposes. And then doing like I've done, take the next step to get into instructional design and adult education and coaching. And just on that topic, check out down below in the description if you'd like to join me for a free call at the weekend where we can discuss your goals and objectives and answer any of your questions. Click the link in the description below. It'll bring you straight to my booking page. It'll take you less than a minute. Sign up completely for free, no obligations, and we can spend some time together talking about your goals. As well as that, I just let you know I'm just in the process of launching an exclusive community kind of members only space where you will get access to extra materials to help you in your course, whether it be CELTA, TEFL, your career as a coach, or becoming a digital nomad. I host members only question and answers, kind of behind the scenes, and provide materials over there on the community. So check out my website for that as well. I really hope to see you on one of the weekend calls. I think they're very engaging. I get a lot out of them. The people who join get a lot out of them. So really hope to see you there. Okay, let's get back to the video. So last person on my list here to apply my criteria to is Fatima. And I'm imagining Fatima is a woman in her mid-20s, around 26 years old, and she's very well educated, has excellent English, and is thinking about doing the CELTA course. Now, I'm imagining Fatima as a woman maybe living in Karachi or Islamabad, and her financial situation is not precarious, but it's finely balanced, I would say. I'm imagining her with a husband and maybe 2 young children, and she has had this background as a teacher, and she's well educated, and she's wondering about investing in the CELTA course. So once again, I think this is a family discussion. Probably if your children are very young, maybe just a discussion with your husband to do a kind of cost benefit, because in a context like Pakistan, for example, the cost of a course like CELTA or even any TEFL course is going to be pretty significant. So first of all, you need to ask yourself simply, can you afford that? And not, when I say afford it, I don't mean just pay for it right now. What are the implications of that for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, even 6 or 12 months? You have to see what is the implication for you, your family, and your life in general. If it still makes sense financially and in terms of your dependencies and responsibilities, you do have a family after all, and you will need to dedicate time to study and taking classes. So you've got your family responsibilities. Can you do this course on top of that? If after you consider those questions, then maybe CELTA or TEFL is a good option for you because it might help you get access to some of those better jobs, maybe higher earning jobs. But really, it's not a yes or no, this or that, one criteria decision. You really need to look at all of these aspects and see if it's the right decision for you. You might really feel like, hey, I'd love to do this course. I really feel it would set me apart. But maybe there's many other things going on in your life that just mean that it's just maybe not the right moment. I've heard that said sometimes about relationships. Sometimes you meet the right person at the wrong time in life. That can happen. And I think the same is true for TEFL or CELTA or any of these courses. Sometimes you meet the right course, but at the wrong moment in life. But that doesn't mean there's never going to be a moment in life. Maybe it's just right now you have to leave it off, focus on what are your other immediate responsibilities, and then from there push on and see when the right moment will present itself for you. My father always used to say, and I love this saying, I try to live by it. He always said to me, son, and he said this to all of my family as well, he would say, what's for you won't pass you by. And I think that is really the words I'd like to leave you with on this video. What's for you won't pass you by. Okay, I hope that you found this one helpful. As I said, don't forget, click the link in below if you would like to join me for a conversation on the weekend. I get so much out of them. I get people from all over the world, and I think the people who join really get a lot out of them as well. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about when it comes to CELTA or TEFL or becoming a coach, digital nomading. Let me know what are some of the criteria that you would have added to my list of age or stage in life, financial situation, location, dependencies, and responsibilities. Do you think there's any other things that I should have added to my list there? Maybe you've made these kinds of decisions in your life. I'd love to hear your story. Drop us a comment below. Maybe we'll even get on a call to discuss it, because I think the more that we can share these kinds of stories, the more it helps other people all over the world come to better decisions in their own life. Okay, I've really enjoyed preparing this video. I had no script for it, and it felt very flowing. It felt very clear in my mind. It was nice planning things on my notebook here, and it felt like it was really from the heart. It felt like this one was something that I think is relevant to those of you who are watching this video, and it really meant something to me. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and that's it. So all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.